Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video we're going to be concentrating on the hard mode part 10 of Sabin's lost chapter, the Runaway Prince. And just a quick disclaimer again that I am going to be using Sephiroth and sazh here and cannot do a sazh-less challenge up till next month basically. So if you want to know more why I can't do it, you just have to check out my video on the channel update. And without further ado, let's start this video. Alright, so let's take a look at the Ghost Brothers' weaknesses and resistances. It has weaknesses to ice, water, and holy, and has resistance to thunder and dark elements. Its abilities include Dark, which is a dark brave magic attack, which becomes Dark Guff from level 61, which is something you will see more often. Touch, which is the melee HP attack. Touch of Gloom, which is a brave magic attack which inflicts defense down. Shriek, which is a buff which grants them attack up, max brave up, and a speed up to itself. It also has Wail, which grants itself again attack up, max brave up, and speed up to itself as well. Next up is Dark Bargain, which is the dark brave magic attack plus HP attack. Deep Hatred, which is a brave magic attack. And finally Wane, which suspends Deep Hatred when HP drops below a certain amount with 2 allies standing. And now let's take a look at some general tips and guides for you guys. The first one is, believe it or not, is be aggressive but save about half of your abilities for the last wave. The only reason for this is because you actually need less than 70 turns in order for you to get the max reward for this particular lost chapter, at least in the extra rewards from the events tab anyway. For the next tip is obviously to bring in the boosted characters such as Sabin, Rem, and the Warrior of Light. Now other characters that I suggest that you bring are Sephiroth, Papalimo. Ash can do pretty well here as well. Prish does pretty well as well because of her AoE breakage, and of course the god sazh. Other characters that I might mention on the side as well is Cater because of her ability to actually hit AoE, and she has that evasion rate up as well, which is kind of good for in this case. And of course Faris can use her water abilities. However, between the two I feel like Cater can do pretty well as well. Snow can do a little bit here as well as a tank and can use ice based attack as well. Next up is the brave batteries and healers, and we all know the 4 that I like very much, which is Aiko, Aerith, Yuna, and Penelo. Out of these 4, I feel like Aiko is the best choice here because of her smite ability. Now the next tip is concerning the third wave, where you will have to fight Garuda and a red dragon. In here you probably don't want to kill the Garuda first, but use it as a brave battery of sorts. Like breaking it will give you extra brave, while killing the red dragon. This should save you some turns later on, and because our aim is less than 70 turns for the max amount of score, I believe this will definitely help you in that process. The next tip I have for you guys is about killing the boss. Well, bosses. In this case, I would suggest actually trickling their HP down to about red health before you kill it. Now, there are obvious reasons where you might have to kill one straight away if they have too much brave and you want to get rid of them. You can still survive 2 bosses with Shriek, and they still do a ton of damage, but it is doable. In this video, this is exactly what I did. However, I was really aiming for about a third of HP, which with each of the bosses before I actually try and kill them one by one. Usually I'd like it so where when I use Smite, I would be able to kill them all in one shot, one by one. So that is the aim. The worst case scenario is what I've explained, where there are 2 ghost brothers with Shriek, but depending on how well you do, hopefully you can actually get them all to red health before you kill them one by one. And finally, for the last tip is I actually use Ifrit here. Even though this boss has multiple weaknesses, I still feel like that Ifrit is the best choice due to the 20% extra damage. And that's it for the general tips and guides. My final thoughts for this fight is I feel like this, not that it's the hardest one, but I do believe it's hardest because it's like this. The actual fight isn't hard, but getting that score, I do believe it's like 42,000, is probably the hardest one that we've ever had. This is basically way above what we usually need for a score. So aiming for that, you guys will probably will want to bring a Sazh or a Sephiroth here. Kuja works here as well. The one thing I forgot to mention, going with Kuja can work well for you, especially if you have his 15 CP weapon. I did forget to write that down, but Kuja works well here as well. And another thing I want to point out is if you are actually running with a very slow team, there is a chance that the Ghost Brothers will actually kill you on the opening turns, especially if all of them have lined up, one like A, B, and C. There's a high chance that you will actually die because of their 3 turns. Basically, one hit will break you, the next hit will break you, and then bam, someone's dead. So that's one of the hardest things here, and you need a little bit of luck, but there is a way to bypass that, which is to close the app and run the app again, open up the app again, and hopefully the turn order is different than it is when you first fought it. And the last thing that's in my head about making this hard as well, not only because of the score, but because of the amount of turns that you have to get in order for you to get that score. So you have to be pretty aggressive in this fight. I actually had some more abilities left over, and honestly I wasn't expecting it to be like 42,000. So yeah, you be aggressive, but make sure you do save enough towards the end. Basically I would suggest about at least half your abilities for the last wave, and that should be plenty enough for you to beat them, especially if you're rocking with a Sazh and a Sephiroth or a Kuja for that matter. But if you don't have these characters, you can go with double Kuja and just hope that you can actually bring it down to red. Actually, in my first couple of tries, this was my strategy, and I did beat it. It's just I never got to the 42,000 score. I never got close to it. So, but I think with a lot more tries, when I found out I needed to be aggressive in this fight, is something that I only realized later on. But if I maybe had that mindset to begin with, I would have probably got a little bit closer, but I don't know how close. And at the moment, I don't think I'll ever find out, because I just don't have the time for it. And yeah, I think that's all there is I can think of in this particular fight. So guys, remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys. Which one of these lost chapters you found the hardest? So is it Ace with the turtles? Is it Seymour with the behemoths? Or this with the ghost brothers that you have to kill as soon as possible? I think out of the three, for me, I feel like the behemoth had me more annoyed than anything else. Like with the raging turtles, I felt like I wouldn't have died at all. There is no impending doom. It was just like you're chasing your tail because of the amounts of turns that you already have. So it's just a matter of being a little bit more aggressive towards the turtle. And yeah, I know some people may find that difficult because of the number of turns, especially if you don't have Sazh or Sephiroth. That is one of the factors in that fight. And I would give the turtles second place and Ghost Brothers is last. I didn't really I found this a little bit annoying because of the turn orders at the start. Sometimes I would just die straight up, like at the start of the last wave, bam bam, and someone's dead. I'm like, oh, I have to restart this game again. I think that was the only annoying thing. But in terms of like killing the Ghost Brothers, it is quite doable without Sazh and Sephiroth. It's just a matter of getting that high score for those extra rewards. And I know a lot of you watch these videos because you want to get those max rewards, but unfortunately it can be pretty overwhelming to get into that. So what you're aiming for is about less than 70 turns, and that's the one way to get that 42,000 points. And I think that those are, yeah, that's my comment really. Wow, this is actually a very long outro. So remember to follow me on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming if you want to keep up with me during the next month. And hopefully I have time to do the next character event. I'll see. And yeah, that's it for me. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.